This is Lydia Gwynn with Chew in the Loo. Thanks for downloading this week's podcast. Don't forget to go to our website at chewintheLoo.org for recipes, culinary ideas around St. Louis, and local food stories. Now on to our show.
Love is in me. Love is in the air.
I know. Hop on some berry white. Where's a berry manilow? Both of those berries. Pull out the berries for Valentine's Day, right?
Berry manilow does not do it for me for Valentine's Day. Berry white will do it for me for Valentine's Day. Berry manilow not so much.
No, you don't need. You need that like deep velvety voice to vibrate the speakers. Boy, I don't know where I'm going with this.
We don't need to go there. Let's talk about food.
Let's talk about food. Family-friendly podcast. People might be listening to this in their car with their children in the back seat. So Valentine's Day. Are you ready? Are you prepared? I ask you as a man, as a husband.
I am never ready. I have never been ready for Valentine's Day. I think it's a part of the genoming sequence of being a male that there's just something that innately makes us not get ready for Valentine's Day until the last minute. I think it's by design. It's a natural selection process that keeps us on our toes. And I don't know exactly why, but for some reason, no, not ready for Valentine's Day. I've been married to my wife for 14 years now. And even from our very first Valentine's Day, when I did not make reservations, we've been dating for a good solid 6 weeks, folks, 6 weeks. And I did not make reservations for Valentine's Day like an idiot. And the woman of my dreams in my grasp, thank God it still worked out. But I did not make reservations. And driving around Columbia, Missouri on Valentine's Day to try and find somewhere to get a bite to eat on Valentine's Day without reservations was embarrassing and almost ended the dream relationship that I had with my future wife. We ended up at G&D Steakhouse in Columbia, Missouri for the steak and baked potato bar for Valentine's Day. Nothing says love like a Greek steakhouse. And our producer Veronica's laughing because she went to Mizzou. She knows what G&D Steakhouse is. It's a beautiful, wonderful place. It holds a wonderful place in our hearts now because of that. My wife, or my girlfriend at the time, was not happy with me, understandably so. But luckily, I recovered well, recovered very well. And we are married 14 years happily now, 2 children, wonderfully satisfied. And I didn't learn my lesson. 14 years later, I'm still not ready for Valentine's Day. So how's that for a story?
Can I just let you know that you are not alone? My 10 years of working in the restaurant business, I will say that like every week before we'd look at the reservations, we were really worried. But the day before and the day of, the phones were ringing off the hook. And it was we'd always take bets on how many angry couples, how many fights we'd see, how many women would like just be so mad when they were walking up. Hey, I have a reservation for 2 at 6:30. Can you get us in? And we're like, hey, we're on an hour and a half, 2-hour wait. And you just see the anger. So, but you know what? Valentine's Day is fun. I like to call it 2 Top Town in the restaurant business because there's parties of 2 everywhere. You've got the nice white linens. You've got the tasting menus. The flowers are out. And it's a very nice day. You know, if White Castle is willing to gussy themselves up for this holiday, then I think it's got to be a day that
I love that because I think sometimes people freak out about Valentine's Day that you need to spend a lot of money or you need to go out to this big fancy thing. And I have learned, again, in my 14 years of experience, that it's not about the money or the fanciness of it all. It's about just showing the effort and the thoughtfulness to it. And that's why I wish my wife loved White Castle. I love White Castle. I wish that she loved White Castle because I would go to White Castle with the linen tablecloth White Castle Valentines. I'm jealous of the people who get to do that. That's right up my alley. But I respect that she does not like onions, therefore does not like White Castle. But it does not need to be this grand, huge gesture, but it just has to be thoughtful and something that you plan, and you actually made a reservation at White Castle. That shows that you thought forward and made an effort. And I think that is my nugget of knowledge I've learned in my time with someone.
Wow. Let us hope that, being the love guru that you are on this podcast, that you're able to help others
You heard it here
coast
first,
through.
though. I'm a love guru on this podcast, the 14th episode of the Chew and Lou podcast, 14th, 15th. I don't know where we are at this point. Joe is a love guru, food guru, love guru. They go hand in hand.
Yeah, there we go. As like your after credit, like Joe Prosperi, love guru, food guru. But let's talk about food, because food is the ultimate love language, right? I mean, PBS has a whole show devoted to this concept with food is love, which I love
They do.
because
9 PBS has a show, so it's
9
just here in St. Louis,
PBS.
obviously. So 9
Yes.
PBSs, and it also airs actually over in Carbondale at WSIU. They aired over there, but Food is Love with Lasse Sorensen. Nothing says love like that show when we talk about the food scene, and Chef Lasse Sorensen trudging through the St. Louis food scene and actually having those deep dives with a restaurateur, with a food maker, with somebody that is making that, bringing that love to the food. And it's amazing to see. I know the second half of the second season of Food is Love will be coming here in springtime to 9 PBS. We're really excited about that. We hear so many great things about how people love that show. People have started to visit the restaurants about that. It's really neat to see also how Lasser and team have created this little fraternity and sorority around all the chefs and food makers that have appeared on that show. They'll have little viewing parties for different episode premieres, and multiple people from prior episodes will come and support each other. They'll all show up together. They'll be on Instagram, 5 of them all going out for drinks and dinner somewhere, going to one of their restaurants. They kind of move as a little pack now. And I think that's very cool, where not only did Lasser explore the love at their restaurant, but they've created a love amongst each other too, as alumni of Food is Love. And I think that's fascinating. I think that's great. Yeah. And I think it speaks to the food scene in St. Louis.
It does. It very much does, about how we are a food community that is not about who has the most guest counts or who has the best menu or the most awards. It's about making sure that everybody is supported, and that the love is spread equally, and that the support is spread equally. And I love that about where we live. But let's talk real quick.
Lydia,
let's help. Yes.
I was going to ask you a question. Your favorite Valentine's meal? Where have you and your husband, or a previous boyfriend, if it's not your current husband, not that you have a not current husband, but your husband, that's
my goodness,
weird.
You're making me out to seem like I've got
Lydia has a husband, and she's only had a husband. But like, what's your Valentine's meal that you were like, wow, that was a great meal that I had?
Okay, so I am going to apologize because this answer might fall short, because as long as my husband and I have been together, I have worked in the restaurant business. And so I always worked on Valentine's Day. But I will say that we were some of those people that would go out on that Friday, the couple days before. I mean, Valentine's Day doesn't have to be on the calendar date. It could be a couple days before or a couple days behind, after. Like you said, it's the thought, it's the effort put into it. And the one thing I love that my husband and I do is we switch it up. We make a point to, one of us plans Valentine's and one of us plans our anniversary, so that we can celebrate the other person, and it's not just on him, for both of them every year. So I have loved going to the Brasserie by Niche. That's my hands down favorite restaurant. But I always get excited because every year we mix it up. We kind of search out tasting menus at different restaurants, because I feel like you get a really great picture. It's not often you're going to go out and get an appetizer and a full course entree and a dessert. This way you're going out and really divulging in the delicious food that they have to offer. So, and I did a little research, and I'm not going to lie, we've had some incredible tasting menus in this town. But one of the things that caught my eye in my research, did you know I always love a dinner and a show. Did you know that St. Louis has the largest burlesque club stage in the United States? Did you know that, Joe?
No,
No.
I'm
Have
not
you
a
ever been to?
frequenter of burlesque shows, so that's not something that's on my radar screen.
No. I mean,
But
have you ever been to a burlesque show before?
no,
They are fun. I went to a couple up in Seattle when I was up there. So it's called the Boom Boom Room, and they are a huge stage. It's a dinner and a show. Those have always been my fun things to do, is like to go and get entertained and have a sit down dinner. They do that, and they have a show on Friday and Saturday, and then they're going to have a special Valentine's Day show on Valentine's Day. Um, so that's a really fun option. I don't know what are you
I do always
normally
enjoy a
playing.
dinner and a show. So we my
Yeah.
wife and I did a dinner and a show last year on Valentine's Day. We bought tickets in advance and saw Ben Folds in concert at Palace
Oh,
Symphony Hall. And then we
yes.
didn't make dinner reservations afterwards. But after the show, it was probably 9:30, and we were like, "Gosh, we're really hungry. We don't have the kids tonight. They were at my in-laws' house." And I was like, let's finally, we opened up Open Table on the app just to see what we could find, and we got a reservation for like late at night at a Chero in Maplewood. Um, and we had and I had my favorite dish of 2021 was at a Chero in Maplewood, well, on Valentine's Day last year. And it was a completely random thing on their Valentine's Day tasting menu that was the burrata that they had. And it was burrata with radicchio and a blood orange reduction and
Mm.
pistachios and truffle oil and something else. I forgot exactly. Some just a couple of like things that were all kind of on there that were like almost seemingly taken from different areas and different that were put here on this burrata, and it was the most delicious, like surprising bite of food I had in all of 2021 on Valentine's Day at a random last minute reservation we picked up in Maplewood. And I still think about it to this day. Like to this day, I still dream about that burrata in Maplewood at show. Like it was fantastic.
I love it. Well, one of the things that I'm keeping my eye on is all of the incredible hotels that we have here, right? Like, and the restaurants that are inside of those hotels offering their prefix menus. So, like, just to go over a few, I mean, Hotel St. Louis in downtown has their Union 30 restaurant inside. You got the Cinder House inside the Four Season, and this Valentine's Day they're doing a prefix menu with like chefs dishes from like Gerard Kraft and Peter Slay and some of their culinary team as well. And then if you haven't been to Casa Don Alfonso in the Ritz Carlton, that place is just, I mean, just not even eating the food, you walk in and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. It transforms you. So those are some of those places I've got on my list that I'm subliminally like sliding to my husband. Let's get a room, let's have dinner,
Mm-hmm.
let's enjoy ourselves without children.
Yep, I hear
So
good things about Commonwealth in the On God Arts Hotel right there by the
yes.
Fox in the Grand Center. Hear really good things. I don't know what their setup is for Valentine's Day, but I hear lots of good buzz about that. And that's inside that very cool On God Arts Hotel with different colored rooms and different feelings, and it's a very artsy fartsy. And they've got a great bar on the top of the On God Arts Hotel for after dinner drinks that
Hmm.
has one of the most underappreciated or underrated views of the St. Louis skyline is actually from the top of the On God Arts Hotel and the bar at the top up there. You have a great view from the western side of the city of downtown, and it's a great view. Lots of windows, cool bar up there. So that's a neat area for some romance.
I love it. So let's talk real quick. Food has been associated with bringing and showing love and encouraging the desire and joy. So I did book today a very special guest to kind of help talk to us about chocolate. How do you feel about chocolate, Joe?
I love chocolate. I think chocolate is underutilized in many ways, because I think sometimes people think of chocolate as a chocolate bar or chocolate a chocolate bunny. or chocolate candy hearts, but I think chocolate is underutilized and underappreciated and almost as nuanced as like cheese, like Simon Layer from Parker's Table when we had him on to be a cheesemonger. I think there's a chocolate monger out there, and I think we have him today.
Yes, chocolate mongers, also known as a chocolatier. And we do. So we have, well, we'll just jump right into it. How do you feel? You want to have a conversation with our special chocolatier today?
Let's talk to our chocolate. Let's talk chocolate love.
We are back with our very special guest. I'm excited to introduce to everyone the chocolate master of, I don't want to say St. Louis, but definitely Maplewood and Clayton. So Brian Pelletier, that rhymes with chocolatier, right? Is with us today from Kakao Chocolate. So welcome, Brian. How are you?
Welcome.
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Well, we are super excited. Yeah, we're here. So this podcast is all about love, all about the romance of the St. Louis food scene. And we are jazzed to talk about chocolate because nothing is more romantic than chocolate and chocolate making and candy making. And as a frequenter, I've been to Kakao Chocolate many times. It's more than just chocolate, so we're excited to go beyond the chocolate with you a little bit and talk about that. But I think Lydia, what's the first thing we want to talk about? I don't even know. I'm so excited.
I know. Well, you know what? I would love to know Brian's story. We always talk about everybody's food journey to where they're at. So, Brian, could you share with us a little bit about your story of how chocolate just came to be? You didn't just wake up one day and say, I'm just going to make chocolate and be Willy Wonka, or?
It was close to that. I spent 20 years doing marketing and public relations and communications and working in that business environment. And at the 20-year mark, I just said, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. Don't make me go back. I'm tired of this. I didn't know what I wanted to switch to. So I thought about what kinds of things I wanted to do. And I knew that I wanted to run my own business and be my own boss. I knew that I wanted to do something with food because I love to cook and I love to eat. And I knew that I wanted to do something to make something physically with my hands. And so I opened myself up to the universe with that. And the universe answered when I was at a dinner party. And a friend of mine who was there said that she had some chocolate making equipment in her basement that she wanted to sell. And I said, I think that'll work just fine. So literally in this order, I bought the equipment, I rented a space, I quit my job, and then I learned how to make chocolate.
Oh, wow.
And that was how
like, was there ever a moment in those 4 steps where you were like, oh crap, I shouldn't have done this? Or were like from the get-go, were you like, oh yeah, I got this?
Well, neither. I had plenty of moments where I was like, I think this is going to work. But I very purposely didn't have a plan B because I wanted to make sure I put all my efforts into plan A. And the saying goes that if you try and chase 2 rabbits, you won't catch either of them. So, my plan was that I was.
Were they chocolate? Wait, were they chocolate rabbits? Was it Easter time?
Yeah, they weren't.
Were they chocolate bunnies?
Those came later.
Because I'd catch both of those if you were worried. Because I love chocolate bunnies. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. So no, that was how I started. There were a couple of moments when I was like, wow, this is really serious. I hope I did the right thing, but I never wavered, and I certainly never said, gosh, I want to go back to that old life. That's never happened. It's a whole different kind of challenge and a whole different set of stressors. But no, I wouldn't have changed a thing.
What was the first chocolate you made when you finally got the whole thing set up and you said, okay, now I've got the equipment, I've rented the space, I started the business, and now I'm making chocolate? Was it just a regular old milk chocolate that you started with, or like did you make were you like, you know what, the first thing I'm going to do is make chocolate, and I'm going to make a chocolate bunny, or I'm going to make chocolate truffles? Or was it like, did you go big, or were you just like a chocolate bar? Like what was that first, when people say they have their first dollar they made on the wall, what's the first chocolate thing you made?
The very first thing that I made, because I bought this equipment from this gal, and she had made chocolates with it, and so she had made truffles, and she showed me how to make lavender truffles. And so the lavender truffles that we still have today, the recipe's changed a little bit, but the lavender truffle was the very first thing that I made. From there, it was just playing more with the truffles and doing some other things. But I remember the chai tea truffle, which we still do regularly. Now, that was the one that I made, the first recipe that I had. So I did that. But I mean, I like to say this because it sounds fun. I immersed myself in chocolate. That was my full-time job, and I just played. I didn't go to school. I didn't go to culinary school or chocolate school. I had a couple books and I read the books and I played with recipes and just tried out as many different things as I could.
If I said, I'm just going to go immerse myself in chocolate, like if I'm like, sorry, Jess, I'm just going to go immerse myself in chocolate for a while. Like, if that a thing,
Yeah, it's like,
you've inspired me. Sorry, Lydia, go ahead.
yeah, baptism by chocolate, right? I don't think anyone will complain about that. No, but so Brian, I would love to take the opportunity just to kind of share with our listeners that, chocolate is not an ingredient that is just, there is a whole depth of knowledge that goes with it, a whole way to manipulate it to get, especially when you're making chocolates, like freeform chocolates, or especially your truffles. There's a lot that goes into it, like the tempering process and making sure the heat's right and the sugar content. Like, talk to us about the difficulty that goes into making some of these amazing, beautiful, decadent treats that we all gorge ourselves on.
Absolutely. I learned early on that a lot of what happens with chocolate and candy making actually happens at a molecular level. And so understanding how that worked was really important to making candy and the temperatures and the timing and things like that. And yes, chocolate, the process of tempering is a very delicate scientific process. But I mean, you mentioned earlier, it's magical. I mean, the cocoa butter, the idea of it tempering is really getting those cocoa butter crystals to line up and grab onto each other and form a matrix. That's what makes a chocolate bar snap when you break it, is because you've formed a matrix from those cocoa butter crystals. That doesn't happen all by itself. It happens, you really have to convince those cocoa butter crystals to do that. The other magical thing about it is that cocoa butter is the only thing in the world that does that. It's the only fat, animal, vegetable, or mineral. It's the only oil that can do that, that can make a solid at room temperature. So it's really, really unique. And I do like to think of it as magical. But a lot of the things that I spent time doing, especially early on, was I felt like the chocolate, I hate to say this, the chocolate knew when I was in a bad mood. And it wouldn't work out. And I would have to step away from it and come back and try it again. Because it just could tell that I was in a bad mood and said, no, not feeling it. I'm not feeling this right now. So there was a lot of magical stuff that I had to learn to figure out how to make some of these candies and how to get the chocolate to do the things that I wanted it to do.
Yeah. So tell us real quick, you just got done celebrating a 10-year anniversary. How many years
No,
has Kakao been open?
So I started in 2008. So
Okay.
Kakao has been around for 13 years.
Wow.
Well, coming up on 13 years, or coming up on 14 years. I can do math. We just celebrated, actually this month is our 11th anniversary in Maplewood. So
Wow.
it's hard to keep track of all those things. But 2008, the summer of 2008 was when I started Kakao.
All right. So you've had a longevity to learn. What evolution have you seen in the process from start to where you're at now? Not only in just like the learning the techniques, but also in the flavor combinations. I feel like the world's gotten wacky with like what the combos of chocolate and balsamic vinegar and chocolate and bacon and chocolate and what wild ride have you been on?
Those are really good questions. And I first have to start by saying that I actually don't get to spend very much time in the chocolate kitchen anymore. I have a team of confectioners and production people that come up with stuff and that make stuff day to day. So I can make suggestions and I can ask for things and I can get ingredients, but I don't get to spend as much time playing in the kitchen as I used to. But the flavor combinations, I mean, what's really ironic about what you just said is that in the chocolate industry, there are a lot of really old-fashioned people that have chocolate shops around the country that think that salt and chocolate is just too far out. It's too much, it's too much of a stretch for them. They don't want to make chocolate and salt, and they just resist it. But yes, we've had a lot of fun with a lot of flavors, and we're always coming up with new things. One of the things that I'm super proud of with Kakao is that even after 14 years, 13, 14 years, we still are coming up with new things. And every day in our shop, we've got at least 2 or 3 things that we've never had before. So like right now, we've got a hot toddy truffle, which is actually perfect for weather like this. When it's
yeah.
outside and it's a snow day, but it has whiskey and lemon and honey in it. And that was something that we hadn't done before, that one of our confectioners, Alexis, came up with and said, this is the one that I want to do. And so she made this lovely truffle.
Have you ever had any that you guys were really excited about, and the confectioner put it together, and you guys were like, you know what, this just is not going to work?
This is a really great story. The short answer is once. We generally know what we're doing, and we generally can come up with an idea, and we know that it's going to work, and it's going to appeal to somebody. So even if it's way out there, like a wasabi truffle or a hop truffle, like beer hops, we'll find, there are people that will like it. We've ruined lots of things. We've burnt things. We've overcooked things. We've forgotten an ingredient and made those mistakes. But there was only one thing that we made that we tasted and didn't like. And this is going back quite a ways. We were experimenting in the shop with Asian flavors. And one of the gals wanted to make a confection using fish sauce. Now, fish sauce is, it's obviously popular in a lot of Asian cuisines. But it's not something that you usually associate with candy. But she had an idea and she wanted to try it. She made a batch of this stuff. She made a brittle, and it didn't work. And we tasted it and we threw it out and said, this is no good. She tried it again, and I actually tasted that one while she wasn't there. She had left for the day, and I tried it after it cooled, and I said, this is really horrible, and I threw it out before she even had a chance to do it. But she was persistent, and she had a really great idea, and she made a peanut brittle with fish sauce and chili peppers and some other ingredients, and it basically was a pad thai brittle. And it wasn't for everyone, but it was really unique, and it was really good. We just made that one batch and sold it, and it was just one of those things that we played with and never revisited. Maybe 5 years later, so just a couple years ago now, somebody came into the shop and said, you guys made this pad thai brittle a while ago. Are you ever going to make that again?
No.
Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah.
I love that. I can
Yeah.
see where that would work. I mean, there's, soy and brown sugar, and, there's, I can see where that thought process was going, but I
That
don't.
umami mixture.
Yeah, I'm always intrigued by like the blue cheese and dark chocolate pairing as kind of that funky blue cheese and dark chocolate is something that goes well together. I see that we tried that with potato chips was something that we've seen done or talked about before.
Yeah.
Fascinating stuff. I love it.
So let me ask you a controversial question. White chocolate, is it chocolate?
So the technically and legally in the United States, white chocolate is just white chocolate. It has to be called white chocolate. It can't be called chocolate. But it has cocoa butter in it, and cocoa butter is the thing that makes chocolate unique. The flavor of chocolate is also, it stands alone, but white chocolate still, if it has real cocoa butter in it, it still is chocolate. There's a lot of fun things that you can do with white chocolate. A lot of people like it because it's sweet and it's creamy and it tastes like vanilla. A lot of people don't like it because it's sweet and it's creamy and it tastes like vanilla. And so it's you're always going to get different people out, but we have a lot of fun with it because it's pretty and it is fun and a lot of people like it. We've also done some things with like caramelizing it, where you literally put it in an oven and bake it until it starts to get a kind of a peanut butter kind of brown color on it and develops a whole unique flavor. And that's been a really big seller in our shop because people are like, what is this? I've never seen this before. Is this a different kind of chocolate? No, it's white chocolate, but we almost burnt it.
Hmm.
That sounds
I'm gonna have
delicious.
to come and check that out because I love those deep caramelizing flavors
Yeah.
of sugar and kind of when things kind of go just to that tipping point of when it's almost irredeemable, but it's right there. Um, what about ruby chocolate? Did you guys ever do anything? I know that's a real new trend in the chocolate space that you see. There's ruby Kit Kats out there, and but is that
Yeah.
really a chocolate or is that more of a gimmick?
Um, yeah, that's not a chocolate. We have some and we play with it. But it's I don't know what they do to get the color, but it just has citric acid added to it. Um,
Yeah.
and so it's I don't they made a big thing about how it was this fifth kind of chocolate or whatever, and it's just a chocolate with citric acid in it and gives it a little bit of tartness. It isn't as good as, and I think that this is another thing about chocolate. We do a lot of confections and we make all these fun flavors and everything, but chocolate all by itself can have a huge variety of flavors to it. There are three main varieties of chocolate that grow on the tree, and they have very, very unique flavors. One of them is really kind of sour and tart. And that's, I think, what that more authentic ruby chocolate, quote unquote, taste is really trying to achieve. And that's something that happens naturally with that variety of chocolate. So I think it's kind of just capitalizing on that unique flavor, but then calling it something different. But we have some in the shop. We have played with it. We do some things with it because we want to show people this is what chocolate can taste like.
It sounds like you never stop learning. Like you guys are always in the process of taking things in and trying something new.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's always looking for new things. Um, we it's reading, it's checking out what people are doing on videos and YouTube. It's going to the chocolate conventions. They have chocolate conventions.
Chocolate
Just
conventions.
just as much as
Oh.
you would imagine they would be. And so it's going there and learning new things and sharing new things. It's a really fun thing in the industry. If you have a chocolate shop that is more than 100 miles away from you, will pretty much tell you everything. Closer than 100 miles, it's a little bit more competitive and it's a little bit tighter lipped, but the chocolate industry is super collaborative and always sharing new ideas with each other.
I love that.
That's awesome. I'm imagining like walking into the convention with a gigantic chocolate fountain and like a table of things to, I don't know. Or Willy
Let me
Wonka's
ask,
like walking into.
do you hate chocolate fountains? As somebody that really respects chocolate, if you see a chocolate fountain, are you just like, chocolate fountain? Like, why would you disrespect chocolate in that way?
Well, it depends on who's doing it, really. I mean, a lot of times a chocolate fountain is just kind of chocolate flavored stuff. Um, and if it's good stuff, then it can taste really good. Um, I, one of my favorite, I love to refer to it affectionately as gas station chocolate. Um, One of my favorite gas station chocolates was peanut butter cups. I mean, I grew up with them. I love them. And we developed a really great peanut butter bonbon that we have at Kakao, and it's one of my favorite things, but I'll still see that orange wrapper sometimes. And if I succumb to the temptation to try it, I always regret it afterwards. Like, why did I waste that bite on that stuff?
Yeah.
Gas station
So
chocolate.
I love it. Let's shift real quick because you don't just have chocolate, but you have these incredible. I'm just going to spat out my favorite things. You've got your marshmallows, which are phenomenal. And then on top of it, the sea salt caramels. I feel like when I go, I have to buy because they come in little 4-packs when I buy them, and I have to buy more than one because I don't want to share, and I know people in my family will fight over them. So, like, you've got a huge variety of chocolate assortments that go with just your truffles and your bonbons that you have as well. And you want to talk on
We've got a lot of different
the
confections that we make. I mentioned the brittles before. We've got a bacon pecan brittle called the Big Squeal that we make, and we use local bacon in that. We use local pecans. We have some other brittles. The marshmallows have been a lot of fun. The marshmallow pies have been a lot of fun. We make all kinds of different flavors of those and experiment with those. We just made cranberry marshmallows, which were very, very good. Made with whole cranberries. We do the caramels, and the caramels are the most popular thing that we sell. if you want to put that into context, we sell twice as many caramels as all of the other things that we dip. So all the truffles combined, twice as many.
Wow.
So the caramels are a really fun recipe. It's got all of the good stuff in it: real cream, real butter, real sugar, real expensive vanilla beans, real local honey. The local honey is their secret ingredient, so please don't tell anybody about that. We make the caramel ourselves, and we cook it low and slow to a specific temperature so it gets just the right consistency. And we really worked hard to make that recipe what it is. And it's all I can say is that it's magical. I mean, if you've experienced cacao caramels, you know what they're like. They are different from anything else that you can get anywhere. And we're really proud of that.
Yeah, Lydia, we picked up some when we were in Maplewood last summer for Taste of Maplewood. I think that you guys were our last stop during Taste of Maplewood. We did a little video and we stopped into Kakao and got a little 4-pack of caramels to kind of give us a little taste of sweetness at the end of our journey down Manchester Road in Maplewood. And they were fantastic.
They were. I mean, I will say, like, I love it because your profile that you build, like the caramel, sometimes you'll get caramels and they're hard, you know, like you can tell the process, you can tell that you have it at the right texture and consistency. You can bite into it. It's not too gooey. It's not too firm. It's just right. But then you also have a dark chocolate and a milk chocolate option, which I love because that dark chocolate balances out the sweetness. And then you've got the Malden salt on the top. So you get like a crunch of salt to sort of blend it all. It's a work of art.
Well,
so thank you.
We appreciate that. We also have, alluding back to what we talked about before, we also dip them in white chocolate. And that was something that we never thought of. It was something that, and this is where a good idea can come from anywhere. A woman came in and ordered those, not having ever, we hadn't made them before. She wanted them for a wedding. And so we made some for her, special order for the wedding. And then we tried them. We're like, this is actually pretty good. And then we started, we sold them and a lot of people get them. So it's something that's in our regular, always have in the case is white chocolate sea salt caramels.
So if somebody's coming in, so Valentine's Day is coming up, and they for their loved one or sweetheart, what are you going to guide them to in your store when you're like, you know what, this is the thing that screams romance in cacao chocolate? What is the romance?
Everything.
Treat du jour, everything. Yes.
Everything. There's so many people. Valentine's Day is one of those things. It's for chocolate companies. For us, it's kind of like Christmas and Easter at church. It's the one time a year that people go into a chocolate shop. And so the fun thing for us is that a lot of times we're dealing with people and customers that have actually never been in our shop before. They've heard about it, they're not familiar with it. So a lot of it is taking these poor guys, and it's usually guys, and taking them by the hand and saying, okay, well, now how much do you want to spend? What do you want? Are you looking for a heart box? Are you looking for an assortment? Do you want us to put a basket together? Let's look at some ideas. And they often have this, especially when they come in the day, late the day before Valentine's Day or the afternoon of Valentine's Day. They've got a deer in the headlights look and they're just not sure. They just need help. And that's our job, is to help guide them to, whatever they're feeling and whatever they want to do. So we have the traditional heart boxes. We've got boxes with hearts on it. We found over the years that the heart boxes for us aren't a huge seller. People want our traditional packaging because that's familiar and that's what they see and that's what they know. So we do a lot of that.
But I wanted to take a moment to just talk about how chocolate isn't just meant for like confection and sweet, but you also have a very savory option with your mole that you have there too, right?
We do. So when I've always loved mole. Mole is a Mexican sauce. It's really complicated to make. It has dozens of ingredients in it. It takes all day to make it, and it's a very special thing, and it has chocolate in it. And so I've always loved it. I've always wanted to make it. And so when it came to our 10th anniversary, I said, I'm going to make mole paste. So I started working on it, and then one of my employees said, I can do this. And so she started developing the recipe for it, and she developed our mole paste, which was fantastic. We launched that, and it was really popular. It has like 30 ingredients in it, and as she says, it takes approximately forever to make. But and we sold it in these little jars, and it was really popular. And then she said, I've got these other sauces that I can make too, and so she started developing some other sauces like a pizza sauce and curry sauce and shakshuka and all of these other things. And I said, we can't sell pizza sauce under the name Kakao. And so what we did was we started a division of Kakao called Clean Plate Pantry. Clean Plate Pantry because it uses clean ingredients. It's got a really clean ingredient list, no artificial stuff in it. And it also is so good that you clean your plate. So so with that, we have a whole new bunch of savory sauces that are part of Kakao, but don't have the Kakao logo on it. We're really proud of those. The mole sauce last year won a Good Food Award. That is from the Good Food Foundation. That is an award that goes to products that not only taste good, but are made from a good list of ingredients, sustainable and environmental and friendly and all of those things. We have won, I lose track of it. We've won 5 confections and 3 sauces over the years. And we're really proud. This year was really special. We had three truffles and 3 sauces that made the finalist list. We had 6 different things on the finalist list. I don't know that anybody has ever done that before. And then 1 of the truffles won, and 2 of the sauces won. So the Thai green curry and the Thai red curry, and then the Viennese truffle won. So we had 3 winners. They announced that just last month, and they had to reschedule the ceremony because of COVID, but we're going out there in early March to celebrate that with all the other Good Food Award winners. So we're really excited and really proud of that.
Congratulations. That's super exciting. Tell us about the winning truffle. What's the flavor profile of it?
It's a Viennese truffle. It is coffee and cinnamon, and it's dipped in white chocolate. And it has when I first tasted it, and it's dipped in white chocolate. When I first tasted it, I've never been to Vienna, but I felt like I was in Vienna. And I said, this is a Viennese truffle. And so so we said that we would continue to make that, and it was really a lot of fun, and we were really proud of it. We submitted it, and it won an award. So we're really proud of that.
It's exciting.
All right, and my last question for you, because now I need to come in and buy some chocolate, even though it's snowing outside, what is your favorite, milk chocolate or dark chocolate? Which one do you prefer?
Well, that's like asking someone which of their children they like best.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Everybody has a favorite.
Everybody has
all do.
And I think that depends on what day it is. So for me, it really depends. I like both milk chocolate and dark chocolate, and sometimes white chocolate. And it just depends on how I'm feeling and what I grab. But most of the time, I really don't think about it too much, because I eat, and people wondered, am I sick of chocolate? I eat chocolate every day. I just don't eat very much of it. I have a lot of it around, and there's usually a little sample of something. I get to try, something that's new, or something that they're making, or a little scrap of something, and I get to try that. So I don't get picky with it, but I like both milk chocolate and dark chocolate.
I love it. Well, I think I know where I'm going to request for Valentine's Day. Joe, I don't know what you're going to get your wife, or maybe yourself, but Kakao is on my list.
Little of both.
Brian, thank you so much for giving us your time and your expertise today. We really enjoyed it.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
Thank you.
We appreciate all of the support that we get from you and from all of our customers over the years.
And good luck over the Valentine's holiday, and going further for another 13, 14 years in Maplewood.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Love it. Well, perfect. Well, thanks so much to Brian for coming and joining us. Make sure he's got 2 locations in Maplewood and in Clayton, as well as a standard presence at the Tower Grove Farmers Market that you can see him almost every Saturday.
Your hosts for the Chew and Lou podcast are Joe Prosperi
And Lydia Gwynn.
and our producer is Veronica Moheski. And this has been a production of 9 PBS in St. Louis. Special thanks to our guest today, Brian Pelletier from Kakao Chocolate.